on the next episode of Sips, Suds, and Smokes.
From Westward, we have the Westward American Single Malt Whiskey Vienna Malt release. We have the Paul John Indian Single Malt Whiskey 2023 Christmas Edition. From AD Rattray, we have the AD Rattray Cask Finish 12-year Aultmore Cask, Tokaji finish. We have the AD Rattray Cask Finish 16-year-old Teaninich, which is a port cask finish. The AD Rattray Cask Finish 14-year Knockdhu Cask, which is Muscatel finish. And the AD Rattray Cask Finish 11-year Glenrothes, which is a sherry cask finish. We have the last drop, release number 32, signature 32-year-old single malt Irish whiskey. And the last drop, number 33, 40-year-old 15th anniversary blended Scotch whiskey.
We'll be right back after this break. To you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Now it's sippin' time.
Hey, yes, it's sippin' time again, and welcome to this Sips episode where everything good in life is worth discussing. As always, we are the best thing on at 2 a.m.
You know, that may be true, but the saying goes, nothing good happens after midnight.
That's not true. Everything good happens after midnight.
Yeah, I got
one of my cases happened after midnight.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it wasn't after...
My wife got pregnant after midnight, baby.
If it wasn't for after midnight,
like he said,
you'd be out of a job.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm miscegenated.
All right, well, this is Made Man Bob, and joining me on this episode today are Made Man Brent.
It's always a pleasure to be here, especially for a Scotch episode.
I know how much you love Scotch.
I know, I do.
You're a Scotch guy.
I'm a Scotchy guy.
It's the only time we can get you wear pants. Well, it's a kilt, but it's close to pants.
Scotch tape, anyway.
Scotch cape.
And Made Man Maury.
Good morning. A pleasure to be here in the damp, drippy basement, and I'm excited to watch Brent.
We're always excited to watch Brent whenever there's a Scotch show. And good old boy Justin.
I am so glad to be here, back from the Great White North.
Yeah, okay. And good old boy Harm.
Thanks for having me, Bob. I'm here to get all the white girls pregnant.
First off, that ain't happening because
this is a family show.
Not because
there's no white girls here.
Not that any of us care. It's just every biped I've seen has too much taste of to miscegenate with you. So
never mind.
Yeah, good Lord. Okay, 240 already in the toilet. Way to go. Our sip segment's all about wine, distilled spirits, tea, coffee, and anything else you can drink. And here are the whiskeys we're going to be sipping today. From Westward, we have the Westward American Single Malt Whiskey Vienna Malt release. We have the Paul John Indian Single Malt Whiskey 2023 Christmas Edition. I don't want to hear it. I didn't get it until like months after Christmas. Sorry.
You'll still find it on the shelves. It's there's a lot of it.
I'll get 24 Christmas like April of 25.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care as long as they send it. From AD Rattray, we have the AD Rattray Cask Finish 12-year Aultmore Cask, Tokaji finish. We have the AD Rattray Cask Finish 16-year-old Teaninich, which is a port cask finish. The AD Rattray Cask Finish 14-year Knockdhu Cask, which is Muscatel finish. And the AD Rattray Cask Finish 11-year Glenrothes, which is a sherry cask finish. And from the last drop, we have the last drop, release number 32, signature 32-year-old single malt Irish whiskey. And the last drop, number 33, 40-year-old 15th anniversary blended Scotch whiskey.
They're doing so many releases now.
32-year-old and 40-year-old. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm excited.
Harm wouldn't date them.
They're too
They're
old
too
for me.
old for him.
Too old for me now.
Well, I mean, they haven't graduated from Alabama yet either.
That's true. Yeah.
My wife's over 50 now.
Well-
I'm good. I'm all right.
Well, let's be honest.
I don't want to die.
In Alabama at 32, she's somebody's great grandma. So
Mima. She's Mima.
yeah, she's Mima, definitely. So
Roll Tide.
all right. So let's have Justin do our signature sounds for our ratings.
Thank you very much for the job, Bob. I've been unemployed because of artificial intelligence. So I'm glad to be here where there's no intelligence.
You are walking proof of artificial intelligence, my friend.
How is he doing the Indian accent today?
Because he's better at it than you.
Because you didn't want to do it because you said it breaks your mom's heart when
It
you
does
do
break
it.
my mother's heart.
So,
Thank
there you go.
She stopped listening to the show because of this.
Really?
No, she stopped
She never
listening.
listened to the show.
She stopped listening to the show because of this. It has nothing to do with the accent.
People can't see your gestures. We're not on a
Yeah,
video.
yeah. I'm pointing at harm.
Yeah, there you go. In case you didn't know. Go ahead, Justin. go.
Okay. One sip. Give me a glass of water to wash out my mouth,
That
please.
was pathetic.
Yeah, that was bad.
See, that's an Indian accent.
Yeah, that was bad.
2 sips. Nice, but well, I still have.
I think he had a stroke on that one. He did. His tongue kind of like went a weird way.
So his eyes rolled back in his head.
I'm so glad he's sitting next to Maury. Keep an eye on him. Is his pupil dilated? Like one of them?
No wonder Eileen's happy.
Yeah.
That's her eyes, not mine. 3 sips. That is interesting. What was this again?
That was really good.
That's much better.
That was really good.
That was much
good.
better.
4 sips. Let's keep this secret to ourselves. Pour me another.
I could hear your head bob
Yeah,
back and forth.
I could.
It was good.
I could feel the head. Yeah.
5 sips. Oh my, I was unaware anything could be this good.
Oh my goodness!
Channeling a poo. Good.
I'm ready to go to the cricket field. Look at this. All of a sudden, just when you think it's in the toilet, he pulls it
pulled
out.
it
Look
back
at
out.
him.
With a stroke in the middle.
You little overachiever,
rallied.
you. All right. Well, let's have Harm tell us about our first whiskey.
Thanks, Bob. Our first whiskey is an American single malt whiskey from Westward. Westward is no stranger to our listeners. We've been talking about them forever. Founded in Portland in 2004 or 2002 by master distiller Christian Krogstad and co-owner of CEO Thomas Mooney. One of the earliest products was Aviation Gin. But after selling the brand to a well-known movie star who you've never seen,
Never heard of him.
never heard of, in that Wolverine
Deadpool.
movie. Is it Wolverine?
Yeah,
It's
Deadpool.
Wolverine.
Ryan Reynolds.
We don't like him. Anyway, this expression is made. He's too handsome. Oh,
Yeah.
you got to bleep that. The expression is made with Vienna malted barley instead of the usual malted barley. Vienna malt is typically used for making Vienna-style dark lager beer, so it's not as dark as like a coffee roast barley. They take any type of barley, heirloom or generic two-row barley, and they kiln it at a higher temperature than the usual lager malts. This whiskey is a beautiful bright copper, and the nose is all banana bread. I smell the banana muffins that Brent was talking about off the air earlier. This is like convenience store banana muffins.
Yeah,
right?
those ones you get in the box in the grocery store. And
Right.
Those little mini banana muffins.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they are, what it smells like.
And I get a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of walnut. There's a tiny hint of floral note, but I don't really get it too much. The banana bread takes over everything. And then on the palate, it's really rich, and I get a ton of maple and coconut macarons. Banana pudding. It's creamy. There's toasted nuts on the finish. There's sponge cake. A lot of good oak. And the finish is really long, and it just goes on forever. This is one of the best whiskeys I've ever had from these guys, and they've always made solid whiskey, but this is probably one of my favorites.
Did you add any water?
Not at all. You want me to try? Well,
No, I'm just curious if the water made a difference.
I'm sure it does. It usually does. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. So with the water,
I mean, this one is so nice without it that
what's the proof on this one?
90.
45, 90 proof. Yeah.
there's really no need to add water when it's this nice already.
It's 90 proof. It's perfect drinking the way it is.
Yeah.
Adding water brought out a little bit more walnut for me, but I was fine without that. What else, guys? Anyone wants to chime in?
What'd you think, Brett?
No, that's the banana bread right off the nose. Those mini muffins. It's just so overpowering when you first get into it. Now that it's kind of aired off a little bit, I am getting a little bit of a fruit on there. Some, like some pears, a little bit of pear on there. On the palate, everything you said, the banana is on there. I get some like white pepper kind of to finish off on the palate a little bit, just like a softer white pepper.
Yeah, you're right. Now that I'm just paying attention to the finish, I'm still tasting it.
Yeah.
The glass is empty, but it's still there.
It's a beautiful expression.
The white pepper's there, yeah.
Yeah, this is really nice. It's just, it starts off nice. It's got a nice mouthfeel. The nose is nice. The mouthfeel's nice.
Brett, this is a single malt.
I know that. And it's just.
This is not your bourbon, man. We say nice things.
Well, if it's a nice product, I have to say nice things.
Do you have any idea what kind of still they use for this? Are they using a column or a pot?
Pot still. Pot still, locally made.
That's why you get that great mouthfeel on it.
Yeah, it gives you that oiliness, that viscosity. That was my assumption that it was pot stilled, like traditional Scotch.
I think you can get oiliness and viscosity off of column stills too. It just depends how tall the column is, right?
Well, the shape of the column affects the spirit. If it's got a shorter neck, if it's wider, you're going to get a heavier, oilier spirit. And it also depends on how you run it. If you run it hard and fast or if you run it slow. And it also depends on your fermentation. There's a lot of stuff you can do to, get the heavier style. But if you go to like Campbelltown, all the stills are real short and real wide,
Big bottom stills make the world go round.
Exactly.
Some people like large bottoms.
Yes.
Anybody else want to chime in, Justin?
I got like fresh roasted coffee, walnut extract on the palate. It was sweet, and the finish just goes on forever. This is a really well-made single malt.
I always swear he's drinking something else other than us.
I was thinking he had his glasses mixed up in his Dr. Dyslexia.
I don't get the coffee note, but it's almost chocolatey. But there's
no, I see it.
The walnut's there. I wouldn't call it walnut extract. I mean, it's actual taste like you just chewed on some walnuts.
We didn't come back with Fabuloso, so be happy. It's Justin we're talking about. So.
I haven't had my house cleaned for a long time.
I really think Harm nailed it, though.
I don't remember Fabuloso anymore.
Number one, Harm said it's one of the best things, and I agree. It's one of the best things I've tasted from Westward. I think it's extremely well made. It's delicious. It really ticks all the boxes.
I'm definitely going to order some.
It's got a nice mouthfeel. I don't know what the price point is, but I'm going to assume that it's pretty good value compared to some of the stuff coming out of Scotland. And I think you nailed it, Harm. I think you're exactly right on both the nose and on the palate. There's a lot of banana. It reminds me of certain American ryes that I've had that are really banana bombs. And I really liked it. I thought it was really enjoyable.
I usually don't like banana bombs. I'm allergic to bananas, but this one's great.
Well, there are no bananas.
There's no actual bananas.
No bananas were harmed in making this product.
Yes, we have no bananas, and we'll be back. Hey, and we're back, and we were just finishing up discussing that Westward American Single Malt with the Vienna Malt. I can't really add anything else to what everybody's already said. I mean, it's just banana bread bomb. It's delicious. It's got a great finish on it.
But I would like to just comment on the word bomb. That implies a little out of balance and too much. And I would say that that's not the case. It's delicious and well balanced.
Yeah, I agree with you. I hate saying that, but I do.
Yeah, when I say bomb, I'm not saying it in a bad way. It's like a sherry bomb to me. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
But sometimes that can imply overdone in that particular area, and I just wanted to clarify that.
Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. It's well balanced whiskey.
Yeah, it's got a great finish. It goes on, and again, another killer whiskey from the folks at Westward. So we're going to give the Westward Single Malt Vienna Malt a well-deserved 4 sips.
That's classified.
Keep making that one, guys. So that's going to take us to our next whiskey. We're going to have Justin tell us about that.
All right. Christmas greetings from Mumbai. We have Paul.
It's actually Goa.
It's Goa now?
Made in Goa. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So
Couldn't call him Goa.
Paul John Indian Single Malt Whiskey 2023. I have been drinking whiskey. 2023 Christmas edition.
You want to maybe do the read-in on the page before that?
No, I'll just skip that.
Sure.
You want me to do the reading?
It might be a good
I brought
idea.
my glasses.
Yep.
Our listeners should be familiar with the Paul John Distillery, as we have featured many of their whiskeys on past episodes. The Paul John Distillery was established in 1992 on the west coast of India in the town of Goa. Founded by Mr. Paul P. John, chairman of JDL, one of the largest spirits companies in India. Their traditional style copper stills were designed and constructed in India at Gujarat, the state where Mahatma Gandhi was born. For their unpeated malt, they use 100% Indian-grown 6-row barley, sourced from Punjab, Rajasthan. And
Those are two different places, Punjab and Rajasthan.
Thank you. Punjab and Rajasthan, and other parts of northern India. Different than the traditional Scottish 2-row barley, this contributes to the distinct taste of the new make spirit. The barley is malted in outdoor malting facilities, then ground and blended with water and distiller's yeast, and fermented for 60 hours before double distillation to a final alcohol by volume of 63.5%. Paul John has two main aging warehouses. One smaller warehouse is located underground, which allows it to maintain a cooler year-round temperature. However, the second larger warehouse is above ground. Due to the high ambient temperature of the region around Goa, the evaporation rate, or Angel's share for barrels stored there, is typically between 8 and 12% a year, unlike Scotland, which has an evaporation rate of about 2% a year. Because of this high evaporation rate, most of the whiskey is aged between 3 and 7 years. So this Paul John Indian Single Malt Whiskey 2023 Christmas Edition is 46% alcohol by volume, or 92 proof. It's non-chill filtered, no color added. This is the 6th edition of the limited Christmas edition series from the Paul John Distillery. It is an unpeated single malt whiskey matured in ex-bourbon casks and finished in a single vintage Colheita Tawny port cask. Colheita.
I think it's Colheita.
Colheita.
Is it? Colheita?
Yeah. Pronounced
See.
Colheita.
Yeah, I could never pronounce it.
I'm going to keep going. It's a single vintage dated tawny port aged in small used oak barrels. Colheita must be aged in a cask at least 7 years. So the color on this is a light brown. On the nose, I got real cream, like creme brulee. I got some milk chocolate and some fruit on the end of it. On the palate, I got like chocolate milk and mocha, oak, and some little bit of 5-spice at the end. And the finish, it's spicy, medium short. What did you think, Maury?
I largely agree with you. I like this whiskey quite a lot. I thought it was delicious. I agree that it was creamy and custardy on the nose. For me, it was more dark chocolate than milk chocolate.
I agree. We got more cocoa powder than milk chocolate.
More cocoa powder than milk. Thank you, Harm. But I agree with your assessment on the palate. There was definitely a hint of mocha, caramel, this vanilla, and the spices were soft. For me, the finish was medium to long. I felt like it kind of just went on and on. This reminds me a little bit of Midwinter Night's Dram from High West. It's just got that Christmas in a bottle kind of feel to me. I thought it was not overdone or overpowered, but really nicely balanced. It's subtle. It's not heavy-handed. I thought it was delicious. I think this is something you could sip on all Sunday afternoon in front of the ball game or just chillaxing. I really liked it. Brent?
Exactly. This is another one of their hits. When they say that it's a Christmas winter edition, this is, it's what it is. On the nose, I got like a creamy, like a powdered bitter dark chocolate to it,
Yeah.
that I got that popped out to me. And that you nailed that 5-spice note on the end there, for that 5-spice. I had put cloves originally. And then when you said 5-spice, that really brought it out to,
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
it's,
But it was soft and balanced.
it was
Well,
very,
clove is one of the 5 spices in 5 spices. So there you go.
He was Accept the compliment.
That's good.
I mean,
I wrote down clove, but he's right. It's fine.
Right. I just wrote down clove as well, and I thought he nailed it with that, but beautiful expression all around. It's easy drinker.
Yeah, it's clove, Paul, John, George, and Ringo, right? Yeah.
I think it also improved with air and time in the glass. When I first poured this, it was a little bit tight, a little bit closed, and not quite as enjoyable. But over the hour we've been sipping and chatting and recording, it's really coming to its own quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm opening presents to this one this year, if I get any.
Well, we've done several of the Christmas releases in the past, and every one of them is different, which is one of the things that I like about it, because they do a completely different take every year. But every year they're good, but this one's particularly good.
Yeah, I think this is more approachable for most Americans. This is a really chocolate that caramel and that chocolate note, and
stated by the only Indian guy at the table that Americans are going to like it. How would you know what Americans like?
Because I like American girls, and you have to please them. You know that.
And that translates to Americans liking...
They like me.
Indian whiskey?
Americans like me.
Oh.
Anyway, one of my favorite...
not very conceited.
One of my favorite Paul John Christmas editions was from several years back, and it tasted completely different. It was all about cashews and a little bit of smoke.
The one in the green tube.
In
the green tube.
That was fantastic.
I think that was 21, maybe?
Yeah, 21, right.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. But the 23 is fantastic and completely different. This is surprising and fantastic whiskey. It's really, it's lovely. And I didn't get 5 spice. I said pepper and clove, but you're damn right with the 5 spice. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That falls under even a blind squirrel gets a nut now and then.
Well, we're going to give the Paul John Indian Single Malt Whiskey 2023 Christmas Edition a well-deserved 4 sips.
That's classified.
So that takes us to our next one. We're going to have Maury tell us a little bit about these guys.
Well, I thank you, Bob. Founded by Andrew Duer Rattray in 1868, A.D. Rattray began trading as an import of French wines, Italian spirits, and olive oil. More importantly, the company also established itself as a specialist in the field of blending and storage of malt and grain whiskeys. The company's house-drawn carts... horse-drawn carts carrying cases of fine wine and spirits.
His house
familiar sight.
It's fair
on Clyde site and the central Glasgow during the 1800s. As such, A.D. Rattray came to represent a number of well-known Highland malt distilleries, most notably Stronach. Thank you. Selling bulk whiskey to wine and spirit merchants, politicians, publicans, thank you, and main Scotch whiskey blending houses all across the west of Scotland. Following the death of Andrew Duer Rattray and a crisis in the industry, the company passed into the hands of the enterprising whiskey broker William Walker, whose daughter later married Stanley P. Morrison. The union of those two whiskey-loving families, the Walkers and Morrison, secured the future of A.D. Rattray and allowed it to pass into the hand of their descendant and our current chairman, Stanley Walker Morrison. Okay, well, the first whiskey is the A.D. Rattray Cask Finish 12-year Aultmore Cask, number 8064 Tokaji finish, 57% ABV, 114 proof, 202 bottles. It was non-chill filtered. This single cask was distilled on April 4th, 2010. It was aged for 11 years in an ex-bourbon barrel and finished for 12 months in a Tokaji wine barrique. So difficult to say much about the color other than it's a light amber. On the nose, there's a lot going on. You get notes of baking spice and fruit. On the palate, it's lovely, it's viscous, it's mouth coating, and the finish just seems to go on and on and on. This is a really interesting whiskey. It's not as old as some of the things we're going to talk about today, but I think the Tokaji really adds an interesting dimension to the whiskey. What did you think, Justin?
This, to me, was like a movie theater. I got like the chocolate malt balls. I got buttery popcorn. I got some cream soda on the nose.
Are you drinking the same thing we're drinking?
Yeah. On the palate, it started off
That's the
smooth.
Dr. Pepper he's drinking.
It got hot. It had a strong back palate, and it was thick and viscous. And the finish was long, and it got even better with time. What did you think, Harm?
Well, I mean, I kind of want to disagree with you, both of you, because I don't think it was as complex on the nose, at least earlier when I tasted it, Maury.
No, it improved. It was
improved?
mono when it first
not
poured.
in the beginning.
Because all I got at first was vanilla and sweet oak, and now I'm getting like cake batter.
Yeah.
And because you mentioned the baking spices that this opened up with air, I didn't get that earlier at all. It did need to open up. But on the palate, it's very rich,
Patience
and you
is
can
a
taste the
virtue.
Tokai. You can taste the Tokai in this. This is fantastic.
It's rich.
Super long finish, and you got those baking spices. That's where I got the baking spices. I didn't get them on the nose at first, but now on the palate, on the finish, that's where they came out. So it's really long finish, and I just enjoyed this. I don't get any buttery popcorn or malted barley, or I'm sorry,
Malted milk balls.
Malted milk balls.
I would agree with you, Harm. I didn't get those two things, but everything else you said, I think is spot on.
Yeah, I got some dark fruits and some creamy vanilla on the nose, and then on the palate, I got the dark
What
fruits.
fruit?
What's that?
Well, like what fruit? Like figs?
Like a plum, like a like a plum fruit
didn't
on
really
it, you know.
see that, but listen.
yeah, and then I got some fruits on the palate, a little bit of fruit on the palate, and the black pepper, and then I got a little bit of bitterness on the front of the palate, and so I don't know if that was supposed to be there with the I don't know.
I'm concentrating
this
on the fruit
cask.
now. You're making me think about it. I think I'm getting dates.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but because I've never had one of these a finish like this before in our, so I didn't really get a.
But you've probably not had a Tokai before,
right?
Which puts you at a slight disadvantage. But a Tokai is a Hungarian sweet dessert wine, and so it
It's
adds
usually
these notes.
Boitricized.
It adds these notes of honey and creme brulee and things of that nature.
Yeah, I just got the little bit of bitterness on the front palate when, for the finish. But I mean,
I don't think that's coming from the Tokai. I think that's coming from the oak.
I didn't feel that. I agree. There was a little bit of tannin from the oak, but other than that, no, I didn't feel that.
But
Bob?
I get on the nose, I get dark stewed fruit, like a dark sweet,
For me, vanilla was the overwhelming
like a dark
thing.
sweet honey, a little bit of pastry cream,
Okay.
and in the tip of the nose, just a
Is there
pepper.
any left?
No.
And on the palate again, it's that dark stewed fruit and like mulled wine,
Yeah.
and that's the Tokai shining through, but lovely. I mean, a really well done. And again, it's one of these they didn't overdo it.
No, they did a good balance.
There's just enough wine in there. Now, some people may think it's a little bit much, but they're wrong.
Yeah, they're absolutely wrong.
And they don't know what the hell they're doing. So
This is not subjective. We're being completely objective. On a scale of wrong to right, you're wrong.
absolutely wrong. So we're going to give the 80 Rattray Cask Finish 12-year Aultmore Tokai finish a well-deserved 4 sips.
That's classified.
So we're going to have Brent tell us about our next one. So
thanks, Bob. This is the AT Rattray cask finish, 16-year Teaninich cask number 460 port finish. It's 57.5% ABV and 115 proof. This single cask Teaninich was matured in a bourbon hogshead for 15 years, then finished in a port barrique for 12 months. So the color, all these on the color, these are kind of on the light side for all of them. They were all kind of
golden.
Yeah, they're light golden. They're all kind of the same. On the nose, I got plum and I got fruitcake. Really? Yeah, I got plum and fruitcake. I got a little, on the palate, I got, first thing that hit me was the baking spice. Then I got some dark fruits on there. Nice mouthfeel, nice coating, very enjoyable, nice long finish. I got a little bit of vanilla on the finish, but overall, Maury, what do you think?
No, I agree with you. I think you nailed it, Brent. I thought it was really well made. I think it was well balanced. I thought it was beautiful. I do like port finished whiskeys. I'm not sure the last time I saw a bourbon hogshead, which they claim they age in. We don't really use a lot of hogsheads in the U.S., but they claim that this was matured in a bourbon hogshead.
They take the casks apart and rebuild them to hogshead size.
You don't do hogsheads here. What they do is they take the barrels apart, and then they just use bigger rings, add some extra staves.
Yeah.
So it's
bigger than a standard bourbon
it's
barrel.
basically a bourbon barrel with extra staves added. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that for
Because not everybody uses intact barrels because it's more expensive. They take the barrels apart and ship them.
Yeah, a lot of them they ship them flat. Yeah. But again, a lovely whiskey, beautiful finish, well balanced, nice. I wish I had a little bit more just to kind of get a good feel for it. But from what I did try, I thought we had a tiny sample, but I thought it was beautifully made, and I think Brent nailed it on the description. So thank you, Brent.
Oh, thank you.
Justin?
So on this one, I got like marzipan, kind of a waxy nose. I got like smell of like a burning kerosene lamp. On the palate, I got heat and then port with like creme brulee.
I got to stop you right there. There's nothing in that description that makes me want to drink this.
I like the smell of a kerosene lamp.
No, that mineral smell is actually nice, but that's not in this glass. I don't know. His glass must be tainted.
He likes to smell the gas tank of the car in the summer, so, he's a little special.
No, I understand what he means with a burning kerosene lamp. That's actually a kind of
a nice smell.
Yeah, it's a nice smell. Reminds me of camping.
Yeah.
But I don't get it in this glass.
Your mom locking you in the closet's not camping. She just doesn't like you.
It's not.
No.
Let me tell you, when I came out of the closet...
I'm talking to him, not you, but you two. Yeah. All right.
She said, I'm sick of you. Let's go camping. And then she let me out the next day. What's wrong with that?
I think it's delicious. It's got honey blossoms and fruitcake, like he said, on the nose.
The fruitcake for sure.
Yeah. I got a bit of dusty oak at first, too, when we first poured it.
Stewed plums, dark brown sugar.
Nobody got apples and pears on the palate? Spice first, then apples and pears.
Yeah, spice, but maybe some pear.
Right, that spice is the first thing to hit you.
Yeah.
Very first thing, yeah.
All right, well, we're going to give the 80 Rattray cask finish 16-year-old Teaninich cask port finish a well-deserved 4 sips.
That's a lot of 4s today. Really good.
Yeah, that can't be. Oh, the Scotch at 4s
we'll
can't be
back.
right.
Hey, and we're back, and we were discussing some of the whiskeys from 80 Rattray, so we're on to our next one, and that one is the 80 Rattray cask finish 14-year Knockdhu, which is a Muscatel cask finish. It's 53% ABV, 106 proof. This single cask of Knockdhu, which is also known as Teaninich, was matured in an ex-bourbon hogshead for over 12 years and then finished in a Muscatel wine barrique for 20 months. So on the palate,
that's a lot of Muscatel, man.
Oh, yeah.
20 months.
Go get Grady. Go get me a bottle of Muscatel. Yeah. I miss Sanford and Son. That was the greatest show ever. It's got a slightly reddish tinge to it. Sort of a coppery gold. On the nose, it's vanilla custard and burnt sugar and dark toffee. Just sweet, lovely
Absolutely
sweet.
right, dude. Absolutely right.
And then on the palate, on the palate, surprisingly not as sweet as the nose, but there's a big mocha on this, especially on the exhale. Dark chocolate. Yummy. What'd you think, Arm?
I got what you were the same. Those vanilla. I got creme brulee. If you taken some good creme brulee and then poured some caramel on it,
Yeah.
that's this. This smells amazing. I could just smell this all day. A hint of butterscotch coming out, a little bit of cake. It's so creamy on the nose, but then you taste it. That's what was a little bit off for me.
It was different.
It
was different than the nose.
The creaminess on the nose doesn't follow on the palate. It came out for a little bit hot and a little bit lighter than I expected it to be.
Well, on the palate, everything was front forward to me.
Yeah, it's
You know,
very
so it was
front
very
palate.
front forward, and that's where
Butterscotch and caramel on the front,
it's
spice on the middle, but nothing on the back.
Yeah, it
right,
drops off
nothing,
the back.
nothing in the back at all. You know,
It's kind of weird. It's really good. I love. I mean, I would just give it a great review just for the nose, but it doesn't quite match.
yeah. I had like a sweet cherry vanilla on the nose. This is what it's just kind of that
I don't
nose
get the
kind
cherry.
of yeah, all front forward, dark fruits, some spices, light. It was nice. I mean,
I think the problem is
the
that,
nose is better than the palate.
like Harm said, you are set up to think something great's coming on the nose. The nose was amazing, and the palate, in comparison to the nose, was a letdown.
Just a little bit of letdown.
Yeah.
And it tastes hotter than it should be too. It tastes a little
And
bit
not that I mean, if the palate was, if it was full palate at that flavor, it would be fine as well. It's
Freaking
just,
amazing.
it's just completely different, than the nose.
Yeah, I know they're trying to balance the Muscatel. Like 20
Yeah.
months seems like a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe if they left it for 24, we get the rest of the palate.
Maybe
knows?
they went too far with it.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
you think they went too far?
I think 20 months of Muscatel being a strong flavor might be long. Remember, the last one was only 12.
But we're just missing some of the back palate. That's all.
Yeah.
Justin, what do you think?
I got lemon curd on the nose, pears. The palate,
I got pears on the last one. Okay, go ahead.
I did get bitter note on the back palate.
Really?
It was sweet in the mid palate, and the finish was sweet.
I got
And-
sweet front, spicy middle. But
It was fun. It was just the Muscatel's too strong for me.
Is it okay? So you guys think it didn't get? You guys think it got too much time? I think maybe could have used a little bit more.
No, I think that's too much.
I'm leaning your way. I think if it got a little more, the back palate might have come in.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. But who knows? I mean, it's,
We don't make the whiskey. We just drink it and tell you about it.
It's a crapshoot when you're cask finishing. That's the thing. You got to make that judgment call, and sometimes you call early, sometimes you call too late, sometimes you call right on. So.
I had some really good wine finished bourbon the other day. We're not talking about it on this show, but I'll tell you about it later. So some good stuff coming out these days.
Well, we're going to give the 80 Rattray cask finish 14-year-old Knockdhu Muscatel finish a well-deserved 3 sips.
Interesting.
So that's going to take us
I would have
to
given it 4 just for the nose, but it didn't come through.
Yeah. And again, it's if somebody brought a bottle of it to the house, I'd sure as hell drink it.
Yeah.
So we're going to have Justin tell us about our next whiskey.
So now we're going to talk about AD Rattray cask finish 11-year Glenrothes cask 166 sherry cask. It's a healthy 65.9% alcohol by volume or 131.8 proof. This single cask of Glenrothes was aged 11 years in a sherry butt, and I love a big butt, I cannot lie. The color of this was yellow. On the nose, I got like an almond croissant, no hint of the big, bold proof to come. On the palate, I got like full, wide bandwidth orange marmalade cake. On the finish, that's where the proof comes out. Really long, luscious, beautiful heat. What did you think, Harmeet?
I have to disagree with you on this one. And and we talked about the ratings when we were writing our reviews. I have to disagree with everyone on this one. I'm the one who did not like this whiskey. Everybody else seemed to like this whiskey. To me, I'm getting a hint of sulfur on the nose, and a little bit of musty oak, and on the palate especially, it's a spice bomb at first, and there's vanilla and that orange marmalade he's talking about is there, but underneath it's covered up by a little bit of funky musty oak for me.
I think you're the only one at the table that
I'm the
got
only one
those
who's sensitive
flavors.
to this stuff. I mean, I can smell.
You're getting a preview of your next reincarnation.
Yeah. There you go.
He was used to sulfurous things where he came from.
But I'm very
using sulfur in Transylvania.
I'm very sensitive to TCA as well. I'm sensitive to some of these off things in wine, and I'm just getting that this barrel to me just does not taste great.
Are you sensitive to LMNOP? Just wondering.
No,
But
so
WXIZ? No. Okay.
Yeah, I got on the nose. I got angel food cake. That's what came out. I mean,
The cake is
it's just
under. It's a hint of sulfur there first to me.
It just popped out. Angel food cake just like popped out to me right away. It was, you know, on the palate, it was just this huge spice bomb right on the front of the palate, and then it just
it's musty oak,
and then it just kind of lingered off. And you got that angel food cake, and then your finish just lingered on and on and on. This was one of the nicer ones that we've had. I mean,
like angel food cake. This does not taste like angel food
I'm vanilla cake on the nose, white flowers on the nose. And then the palate, just sweet oak, molasses, kind of burnt toffee. I get the citrus undertone underneath all of that. And then just heavy baking spice bomb.
You guys all loved it. I do not like
I think
this
Bob's
whiskey.
spot on with the description. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better than that.
Hold on. Let me rewind the tape. I got to save that.
Love the smell
I did
of
something
napalm
right
in the
once?
morning.
Once. Well, it does happen once.
Yeah, I won't let it happen
Again, on a scale of right to wrong, you guys are all wrong. There you go.
Well, we're going to give, in spite of you, we're going to give the 80 Rattray Cask Finish 11-year Glenrothes Sherry Cask Finish a well-deserved 4 sips.
That's classified.
So that's going to take us to our next one. We're going to have Maury tell us about that one.
Why, thank you, Bob. The next whiskey is Last Drop, release number 32, signature 32-year-old single malt Irish whiskey. It's 46.4% ABV or 92.8 proof for Justin and those of you who are math challenged.
Thank you, but I know a third of it.
This is the third signature creation from the Last Drop, a 32-year-old single malt Irish whiskey. This release marks the Last Drop distiller's first release in the Irish whiskey category. The story behind this signature creation began when Rebecca Jago, managing director of the Last Drop distillers, Louise McGuane, and Helen Mulholland, master blender of the Low Gill Distillery and a legendary figure in Irish whiskey, convened at the McGuane family farm in Coraclare to taste a
We weren't helping you with that one.
No, I'm not helping. You're
of
on your own.
exceptionally rare Irish whiskeys from J.J. Corey's Library of Flavors. Wow. A selection from this flavor library was chosen as the final array of vintage 1991 single malt whiskeys for this release before they were married and placed into an ex Oloroso butt for finishing. Release size 663 bottles.
For the world. Yeah.
For the world. We get a lot of special releases like that in Florida. They're less than 1,000 bottles all the time.
The color, light copper, nose, definitely getting some dried fruit, cinnamon, sugar.
I got apricots.
You're absolutely right. There are some apricots, a hint of raisin. On the palate, toasted almonds, raisin, dark chocolate, creaminess, viscosity, mouth coating. The finish, there's some fruit cake, there's some raisin, there's some nuts, and then it just sort of slides onto oblivion. I thought this whiskey was lovely. This is an all-day sipper. None of us here are huge Irish whiskey fans, but this could take a non-Irish whiskey drinker into
I am now.
I am now. Yeah,
exactly. This is an Irish whiskey for anybody. This is really pretty fantastic.
Anybody who can afford it.
Well, I'm not talking about the price. I mean, I'm sure it's astronomical at 32 years old with a high angel share, but it's phenomenal.
The one thing I got on the nose that was kind of unusual is I got some butterscotch, which I would never think to get on Irish whiskey.
You
that
get
just
sometimes, but not
a little bit. But I mean, it's but yeah, you nailed it with the tasting notes. The creaminess and the mouthfeel of this. And you know, when you think of an Irish whiskey, it just doesn't taste like your typical Irish whiskey.
No, people get that the Irish whiskeys we drink in this country tend to be blends.
Right.
This is going to be single malts.
Yes.
So that's the thing. Single malt Irish whiskey is a different category. They're so great.
It's real whiskey.
Right.
Well, we don't get a lot of single malt Irish whiskeys here.
I sell a lot of them. Come on, you got to go to the right shops.
Justin?
I'd go there, but it's too expensive.
This is a serious Irish whiskey. I'm not very familiar with the single malt category of Irish whiskey. I've had my share of Jameson and everything.
You come by the store. I'll pour you a bunch.
On the nose, I got potpourri, pears, apples. On the palate, I got like strong apricots, gentle caressing wood. The finish, bitterness, raisins. I could live in this dram all day.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best Irish whiskey I've had, and I've had some really amazing ones.
Mm-hmm. This is really good.
Buffalo Trace with this Last Drop series.
The Buffalo Trace bought Last Drop?
They do really
years ago.
good expressions most of the time, and this is one of their really good expressions. I see why they picked it.
I can't thank Rebecca Jago enough because she's, from the day I met her, she's always been very generous with sending us samples. I mean, very few of these go out to the media. Very, very few. You don't see a lot of people talking about Last Drop because, quite honestly, they don't need to.
It's unobtainium.
Yeah.
It's frankly unobtainium.
But she's such a lovely lady, and she's always been very great about sharing stuff with us. And this one is just off the chain amazing. It's just on the palate. It's almonds and raisins. Oh, so good. Well, we're going to be rating the Last Drop, release number 32.
Last Drop.
32-year-old single malt Irish whiskey, a well-deserved 5 cents.
Oh my goodness!
Yes!
And it's 5 because we don't have a 6. So that takes us to our last one, which is the Last Drop release number 33, 40-year-old 15th anniversary blended Scotch whiskey. So they Last Drop celebrated their 15th anniversary in 23, and they were founded in 2008 by James Espy and Tom Jago. One of those guys was the guy behind Bailey's Irish Cream, which sold their billionth bottle, I think, a couple of years ago. So,
Billion?
Yeah, billion.
Wow.
So they marked this milestone with the release of a limited bottling of a 40-year-old blended Scotch whiskey created for the occasion by their master blender, Colin J.P. Scott. Some of the grain whiskey in this blend was distilled at North Scotland Distillery, the smallest grain distillery in Scotland, which closed back in 1980.
I thought it was called North British. It's North of Scotland. Is it a different one?
Yeah.
Okay.
In its day, North of Scotland was thought to be one of the more flavorsome grain whiskeys around. So this one's 47.1% ABV, 845 bottles for the planet. On the nose, it's apricots and honey and a lovely vanilla. And on the palate, the apricots come through. Huge almond extract. Almond essence, call it what you will, but the almond is just there.
Marzipan, baby.
Marzipan. And then I have to agree with their on the finish, vanilla ice cream. I have to agree with their tasting notes. It's so there. What'd you think, Harm?
I got to meet James Espy back in 2011 when he came to Florida. I got to taste his first release, the 1960. It was over 50 years old at that time. That's the best thing I've tasted forever. And that's gone.
Yeah.
This is close, but not quite as good. But oh my God. If you can get this, get this. What you said is right.
If you're in a whiskey bar and they have it available for a taste, spend the money. Spend the money. You can't go wrong with anything from Last Drop. We've had some amazing stuff from them over the years. But
I've actually never seen it in a restaurant. Have you?
Yeah, they have it at Warren.
Okay. Yeah. That's probably the only place on the planet, though.
Well,
there's a couple places in Orlando too.
No, I know quite a few whiskey bars in Kentucky that have it.
Really?
Yeah. What'd you think, Brent?
This, I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm thinking 40 years old. Okay.
It can be too old, right?
Right.
You can tire.
Exactly.
That's what
You're thinking 2% a year, you're losing. What is left in the barrel, at this point in time. But, what was left in the barrel was delicious. All their tasting notes, all the things you have, is a great expression. I loved it. This would make somebody that likes bourbon drink Scotch, but they have that other kind of Scotch too. So
that's the kind I like.
Justin, you got anything to add before we close out?
Sure. Since I started this show, I discovered grain whiskey, and oh my God, it's a great one.
Well, it's not a grain whiskey. It just has some in it, but we'll go with that. So we're going to be giving the Last Drop Distillers release number 33, 40-year-old 15th anniversary blended Scotch whiskey again. It's only getting 5 because we don't have 6.
Yeah!
Jesus, that's good.
It really improved as it sat in the glass.
Yeah.
It just got better and better.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank our co-hosts for joining us. Thank you, Brent.
Another Scotch episode in their books. Thank you.
And you liked it.
Every one of them.
Wow.
Every one of them I liked.
And thank you, Maury.
Thank you, Bob. Another spectacular day in the damp, dark basement.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Bob. Really a privilege to be here. Thank you.
And thank you, Harm.
Thank you, Bob. And I mean it this time. I'm wearing my I'm Here for the Scotch t-shirt today.
Well, you were definitely here for some Scotch
here for the
today.
Scotch.
Well, for Sip, Sud, and Smokes, this is Made Man Bob. Thank you for joining us. Remember, life is too short to drink bad whiskey. Unfortunately, for this show, we didn't really have to do that. So,
Not a single one.
Even though it was called Scotch, it's amazing.
yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're listening to us online, do yourself a favor and tap
Just tap it in.
the subscribe button.
Give it a little tappy. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo.
The easiest way to listen to our show is to ask Siri, Alexa, Google, Uncle Larry, or whoever it is that talks to you on your phone. Play podcast Sip, Suds, and Smokes. We love your feedback, and you can reach us at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our tasting notes flow out on Twitter and Instagram with our handle @SipSudsAndSmokes, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll also be able to interact with the thousands,
Millions and millions
of other fans on those social media platforms. Do us a favor. Take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. That's a big help to us, and we get to see your feedback as well. Come back, join us for another episode, and keep on sipping.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sip, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.